The stream is live.
We are live. Hey, everyone.
What's
I got
up?
to get these little things scooted out the way. Okay. Simply Tanisha's here. Hey, girl.
What's poppin'? Let's see.
Hey. All right. We're live. Can you hear us okay? Are we good quality wise?
Live in living color. Oh, I can pull up the comments over here too. Okay.
Yes.
I see. I see.
Hello, Life of Shay. No, Life of Shy.
Life of
Life
Shy.
of Shy.
Shy, what's your
Yes.
full name? Well, I guess you don't have to give your full name. It is the internet.
It is the internet. Oh, perfect.
Hey, Mindy.
Hey.
What's up, Didi?
Hey.
Hey,
Aw.
we're going to get this conversation
Yes.
started. Well, you lead the way, Alanda. This is your thing.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Um, well, hey, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday Live. I'm Allanda, and we have.
Cofia, what's up, y'all? What's going on?
Hi. And Life of Shy is Cheyenne. Let me
Okay.
say that while I can see it.
I like that. That's so pretty.
So let's just kind of get into kind of what got us here in the first place. So I am not new to medications. And like I was telling Kofia just before we started, I'm kind of like a open book when it comes to talking about stuff. So a lot of times I don't know about stuff unless it's spoken to me about. Okay. So with that being said, I have a long past about being on mental, how do I want to put it? I want to say mental, on medications. And I'm saying all medications. Okay. So I have a long history of it. It first started right after high school when I dealt with something. And after that, my mom put me in therapy, and my therapist suggested that I get on a medication. She was like, you just need to balance out all your hormones. Okay. Balance out your hormones. And I stayed on that medication, Prozac, for about 3 years, with the combination of therapy. So in my mind, I see it as a tool. I am me. I'm going through what I go through, but I needed some help in some areas. And the medication and the therapy was helping me kind of guide through that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I never saw a stigma when it came to taking medication, even down to the GLP-1s. I didn't see a stigma. Anyone asked me, I'm like, I'm on the medication. I'm on the shot. so I was listening to one of Kofia's messages on Saturday morning, because I live in my car and I'm driving and I'm watching it. And she said something that just kind of hit me. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Now, backstory to all that. As you know, I'm a high school teacher. One of the classes that I teach is called, interpersonal studies. So it's marriage, relationship, dating, you, and how do you fit into society. That is the gamut of the class. With that being said, we say and talk about a lot in that class. And I start off the beginning of the year, and I say it for like the first 3 weeks. We all are in a boat. Everybody's in their own little boat. I'm in a boat. Kofia's in the boat. Dee Dee's in the boat. Cheyenne's in the boat. We all in a boat. And sometimes somebody might say something that'll rock our boat a little bit. We kind of be like, oh, okay then. And it could be something as simple as, I have two moms. People are like, oh, okay. Hey, you in your boat. Stay in your boat. Kind of like stay in your lane, but stay in your boat. And we'll talk about it. Like, okay, so what does that mean to you? How does that make you feel? Again, it's a very touchy subject or class. And when we get to the part where we talk about drug addictions and mental illness, everything becomes secretive. They'll come tell me after class, oh, miss, I'm on this. Or, oh, have you ever heard about this? That's me. And I'd be like, okay. But it wasn't until I started teaching where I was like, why everybody whispering?
Mm.
You know, I'm like, I'm on blood pressure pills. Yeah. So I'm having a hot flash right now, and I have my Beyonce fan going. But I realized as a teacher that there was a stigma when it comes to mental illness. And I felt really open to Cofia because I'm like, wow, she's dealing with the stigma.
Mm-hmm.
And we really shouldn't be dealing with a stigma. I mean, we should be old enough to be like, wow, okay, so you're using a tool that's going to help you. You can be like, yeah. But we're not there yet.
No.
And so hopefully Cofia and I can talk and bridge some gaps.
Yes. And I was telling you, like, one, kudos to you for being a safe space for your kids to be able to share, because that's huge. Like, that's really big. And especially kids, like, you know, they don't always open up. So the fact that they open up to you says a lot. And yeah, like I come from like, I've seen a lot of addictions. I've seen a lot of all the kind of things that you talk about in your class. And I was telling you before, like, the same way with the GLP-1 medication, I wasn't always on this side. Like, I wasn't always on the side of, yes, medication is a tool. Like, let's, use it as a tool, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like, I come from the side of, I thought it was cheating. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I can be completely honest, like, I thought it was cheating. That's why I felt like people were going to think I was cheating, right? Because I felt like they kind of were. And it wasn't something that was like blatantly, hey, I'm walking around with this sign. I think you're cheating if you don't do it the natural way. It's not that. It's like a deep rooted thing. And so it was kind of that same thing with medication for any type of like mental anything, like mental emotional stability, right? And even I think the term mental illness, like, nobody says physical, like liver illness, blood pressure illness, like cholesterol illness. But then when we talk about the mental part of things, we want to say mental illness. And then I think that's part of the reason why it, it's kind of, there's a negative connotation there.
Yeah.
So being on the, I think, and this is what I was sharing with you, is like getting on the side of the GLP-1s where I'm seeing it as a tool, and I can now see it as leverage, because I'm getting there faster, because I have a tool, a different vehicle that I can drive in. Then, I'm like, okay, well, what other things have I been holding myself back to because I didn't want to get in that car to get me there faster? And so that's kind of been the thought process around taking medication, and just looking at it overall, like, as a tool. Am I going to be, it's my desire to be on it long term? I don't necessarily think so, but am I open to that? Yes. It's the same process or the same thought process I have with the GLP-1. So I was the, my friend calls it, I was the peanut gallery, right? I was the person like secretly judging other people and feeling like I need to grind it out to, I'm more worthy. It's going to feel better if I, struggle a little bit as far as weight loss. And I don't think that anymore. And so I don't think that about mental and emotional stability. So yeah, definitely a conversation needs to be had. And I think it's just more so like, we need to intentionally decide what we're going to believe about it and then just act accordingly. I mean, that sounds so simple, but
But no, it makes complete sense. And like I told you, my first battle with being on the medication happened shortly after high school. I went through something traumatic, and my mom was like, okay, we're moving to a whole nother state. We are putting you in therapy. We're putting you on a medication, because I was me, but I would have like these spurts, just like emotional crying spurts. And it was through therapy when my doctor was like, well, really what we're going to do is put you on a mood stabilizer because your hormones are off whack. And I was like, oh, okay. So when she said that, like, okay, your hormones, bypass the fact that you're 18 and hormonal,
Right.
but bypass that. You
Right.
have this added layer that's making you like,
Oh,
happy, sad. My mom would be like, here, we're at McDonald's. What do you want? And I'd be like, oh, no, why are you always asking me?
I'm overwhelmed. But nobody
Like,
knows how to, I mean, you can't say that necessarily 18.
but
So
it was like so much coming at me and I can't make a decision and I'm hormonal and you're asking me questions and, I'm a teenager in a new state. So it was just a lot. And so
Mhm.
when they put me on the medication the first time, it was a tool. It was
Yeah.
to help my body regulate its hormones, which is
Mhm.
very similar to what we're doing with GLP-1s.
That part. That part. That part. It's all internal. Like it's and Kay said that's why I didn't take it 2 years ago when my doctor recommended it, even with the diabetic diagnosis. I think she's talking about the GLP-1. And then
Yeah.
Nadia said breaking the stigma around mental health starts with us. Seeking help is a strength, not a weakness. And that's the part I think we like. That's what's going to help change the frame of it, right?
Yeah.
Like this is like you're strong because you're getting help versus and like that's a whole nother can of worms because as might be like as brown skinned people, especially brown skinned women, we kind of were made to be the strong, take all the things, carry all the load, like be superwoman. And then now that we're kind of like there's kind of a movement coming out of that, it's like that will help, changing the way that, getting help will be viewed. So yeah. And I mean, even just not just brown women, like I think women in general kind of
Women.
looked at like, you can handle it. It's, you're fine. So
Yeah.
said,
And I even mentioned, and like I said, I've been off and on a bunch of times. Right after high school, I took it for about 3 years. And then in 2017, I went through something with work and I was just feeling overwhelmed. And so I got on a medication, the same medication again. Stayed on it for about 2, almost 3 years. And then my doctor reached out during COVID and was like, hey, just checking in. How are you? And I was like, I'm good. And she's like, well, do you want to get on the medication? Let's talk it out. She did like a little questionnaire with me to kind of see where I was. Because, you can tell people I'm good.
Yeah.
But then when you start asking, right, you get the right question and the real answer comes out. And so she was like, well, I'm going to put in a prescription. You can pick it up if you want, because it was like May of 2020. So in addition to COVID, my son was a senior. He was trying to graduate from high school, which he had no graduation. We drove through a car line so he could pick up his diploma. So it was emotional. And so my doctor was like, hey, the medicine's there if you need it. And she just kept it going. Like, if you need it, it's there. It is a tool if you need it. And just like I need this GLP-1, I did not hesitate to go pick up that medication. And I showed you, like, I got the bottle's full, but it's there for if I need it.
Yeah. I think for me, I don't know what was the driving. It was just like this overwhelming sensations in my body to handle everyday stuff. And I was like, this is a lot. Like, this is a whole lot, and, I think we kind of discussed it at the beginning. Like, there was something that drove me to food, right? To be my source, to be my sense of comfort, to be my best friend. Like, something drove me. Like, I felt that way. I think that's so cool that Eli Lilly is hold on, sidebar. I think it's cool that Eli Lilly is he made Prozac too. He owned something. Like, he understands that it's something on the inside of us that needs to be regulated. And he's trying to profit from it, which is great. Look, give us all the things.
Yeah. Help me from the inside out.
Yes. But like, it was just those things. And really, I think my first kind of bout with feeling like I think I might be a little depressed. Like,
Mhm.
and even saying that out loud, that I am not the person that wants to talk about this type of stuff. Like, let's talk about happy, happy, joy, joy. Like, let's talk about brownies and stuff. Like, so the fact
Unicorns and
that
rainbows.
you're right, like, can we talk about that stuff? But it's like these are the topics that really, they matter because so many people are feeling these feelings and may not have the awareness to say, I need some help. Or like you said, like you were saying, I don't know if you said it on here yet, but you were saying like the kids in your classroom didn't know it was a problem, right? They didn't know it was a problem until somebody else said it, right?
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
for me, I didn't know I had a problem like connecting until I saw other people connecting with my own kids. And it was like, maybe I need a little bit of help here, So, and I think that happened for me the very first time was when I was pregnant with my oldest daughter. And I just remember feeling so gloomy, so gloomy. And up until that point, I couldn't even tell you if I thought depression was real. Like it was that for me, that's what I experienced. And, going through it yourself, like for me going through it, it's like, I have so much more compassion for people, and what they go through and what they share. And even if I don't fully understand it, it's like, it's so like, can we accept people not being perfect? Can we accept them, wanting to get help? So, yeah.
And you're right. I did say that because, like I said, in my class, we cover a lot of stuff. And a lot of times, especially in my family growing up, we did not talk about stuff. Like my mom and I talk, like we talk. But outside of us in our home, everything's great. Everything's great. Oh, your uncle, he's laying down right now because, he had a little something and it messed him up, but he'll be fine tomorrow. And then I find out my uncle alcoholic, I'm like, oh, that's what's in that cup. He always carrying the cup. And so my students are pretty much the same way when we're having conversations and they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And we're talking about dating violence. Oh, wow. So that's called love bombing. Like he shouldn't be telling me he loves me 2 weeks in and I'm going to be his wife and we're going to have kids. That's a problem. Yeah, baby, that's a problem. Wow. Yeah. So a lot of times we just don't know.
Yeah.
And once that door opens and you start learning and seeing, you can really kind of take in stuff and assess it. And it's just amazing that, a lot of times we keep that door closed.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had the luxury of not knowing. I think I grew up in the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I think so. Part of like how I grew up, as far as like, I went to counseling early. So I lost my best friend. My best friend was like killed like traumatically. This is not, I'm good. I've recovered. But going through that experience, my mom put me in therapy. I was 9 when I went to therapy.
Oh, wow.
And so I had a very clear awareness of death early. And so I think it kind of made it, and I was the oldest of my mom's kid, like the kids that her child. I'm the oldest. I'm her only, but she adopted my cousins. And so it was 6 of us. And so I was doing all the things, right? I was the house manager. Okay. And so I think I saw way more early on. And so I was able to see like, oh, okay, you got this problem, you got that problem, you got this problem. And really just seeing how kind of like, and I think everybody has part of their story where they feel like, man, I was a little jacked up, or, maybe not. I don't know. I just know I have part of my story. I'm like, dang, that was intense,
Yeah. But remember, some people keep that door closed.
Right. But for me, it was like, it's all out in the open. Like I see all of it, and seeing all of that, it's like, I don't know. Now as an adult, I feel like, there are certain things that I want to make sure my kids don't have to go through, or, and I think that's why I'm so adamant about growth, because like when I read this book, it was Love and Logic, I think. And it was like, we want to raise kids that don't have to heal from their childhood.
Yeah.
And so I think but in order for us to raise kids that don't have to heal from their childhood, we got to heal from ours.
Right.
And so, yeah, so just, I've seen a lot of things, and I just was like a fly on the wall seeing things happen, and so I think it kind of, put me in the more mature side of things, which, it comes in handy, but, you don't necessarily desire your children to grow up too fast.
Right.
And not be, but I think it has its pros and cons, right? Because like we still both on this same intersection around the same time, kind of dealing with some of some similar things. So
yeah. And I've said it before okay, so let's start over. So I had a coworker, and at the beginning of the school year, and I've said this story before, she noticed the weight loss. So I was talking to her about the weight loss and what Zepbound was, and she's like, oh, okay. And then she called me months later and was like, hey, quick question. Did your doctor say you needed to be in therapy? And I was like, no, I'm in therapy, but no. And she was like, yeah, because my doctor was like, she really wants me to be in therapy in combination with the medication. I was like, really? Like, despite the fact that I was in medication or in therapy, and my therapist kept asking me, like, how's your weight loss journey? I'm like, oh, it's great. It's great. Unicorns and rainbows.
Perfect.
I'm doing good. Because she could see, she was watching, the transformation through our intercessions. But I just hadn't put my mind around the fact to, why was I overweight?
Right.
Like, I'm talking about everything in my immediate, but I hadn't pinpointed the moment that said, this is how we're going to handle this stress. We're just going to eat.
Right.
Food makes us feel good,
So good.
It's good. And it talks to me and it tells me like, hey, girl, come here. And I'll be like, all right, let's go.
Right.
And, and if I found something that was really good, then I just consumed more of it because it just made me feel even better.
Right.
But again, what was the pinpoint to get me to that moment? And I was closing that door with all force. My doctor, my therapist is trying to crack it open, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah. But think about like dealing with any type of emotional issues. Like for me, it don't feel good. You know what I'm saying? And if you are accustomed, like I'm accustomed to going to food so I can feel good, why in the world would I want to deal with some emotion that's going to make me feel bad? Like what? That doesn't make sense, And so it takes effort, and like, it's uncomfortable. I think that it's so uncomfortable because you're having to like you said, pry open doors that you done had locked tight. You know what I'm saying? Like, and some things are even like thoughts or experiences that you like, dang, I forgot that even happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kid you not. During Thanksgiving, my son, and it cracks me up. Like it was just funny to me because I actually got to see it happen to somebody else. But my 23-year-old came by and sat beside me on the couch, and he was like, Mom, I need to know if this was a dream or if this was real. And he talked about a birthday party. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was real. He was 3. He was 3 at the birthday party.
Oh, my God.
But, South Carolina had an ice storm. And so his birthday party was at a painting place. And, everybody came. Like people who I didn't invite showed up because the building had power. And next door was Domino's. So Domino's catered the food. And so all the kids from his little pre-K showed up. And then the next day, a mom was like, well, at that party, she was like, I had to cancel an event at this other place, so don't come. And then the next day she called and was like, hey, they have power. Domino's is going to take care of it. Come. So the next day, my son, again, with all his little friends, went to a birthday party. So he had his birthday party and then that birthday party. And he just remembers it being fun. And he had lots of pizza and all his friends were there. But he was like, it was like the lights were flashing. And then there was like, we painted. So in his mind, he was trying to remember, is this real? Is this real life?
Right.
You know, as he's sitting there, I'm like, yeah, baby, that was 2 different events. And he was like, really? But it was his mind trying to process 23 or 20 years later.
Yeah.
What happened?
Right.
Like,
right.
You're thinking about that 20 years later? So think about what could happen. That was a fun time.
Right.
You know, what can happen if you went through something traumatic?
Girl.
How do you play that out in your real life? Are you overeating? Are you're not socializing with people? You know, it's just, you don't think about all those little connections that impact us much, much later in life.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that is it. Like, I don't believe, like, just like healing and I know we say it, it's like, we're going to heal our relationship with food, but I'm like, well, what caused our relationship with food to be bad? Like, can we go a step further, right? What caused us to run there? And then if obesity is a disease, then what is the root cause of the obesity? And I think that's the part where it's like, there's something that may not be the same for every person, that causes us to carry this weight, right? Our body was designed to function a certain way, and for whatever reason, it's not, right? And I believe a part of that is the things that we go through it changes us, you know. And if we don't deal with it, then it's gonna come back up. I don't think it goes away. I don't think time heals all wounds. I think it seeps out in the conversations, in the way that we lash out, in the way that we communicate. It comes out. It comes out. Especially
and that's what,
hey.
That's what my doctor was trying to get me to understand. My therapist, she was trying to get me to understand, and I just wasn't trying to hear it. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm not overeating. I don't have cravings anymore. Like, I'm not stuck on one particular food, because I would get stuck on food. Like, and I did a video about it. My daughters were like, what? Are we eating dried corn again? I'm like, yeah, dried corn is good. And I would get like these big boxes from Amazon, and I would just handfuls, like,
of corn,
and put it in baggies. And I'm at school. When I ate church crackers, I kid y'all not. I was at school popping them in, like, and my kids would be like, are those communion crackers? And I'm like, yeah. And let one of them ask me for one. I'm giving them the ugliest face. Like, I don't ask for your food, you know?
Right.
But my therapist was like, well, I know you're saying you're not having these temptations. But you have also said you don't know how long you're going to be on your medication.
Yeah.
So if we can't address what's going on up here to make you want to eat what you eat, we're going to be doing this again in a few years.
I like her. Look, where's she at? Look,
telehealth. Trust me, sometimes I get off loving her. Other times I'll be like, bye.
She sounds like the truth. Like, yes, let's go a little deeper. Okay, so Joanne says the biggest trauma I faced was in my adult years. In 1999, my mother died in a car accident, and in 2006, my youngest son passed away due to severe asthma and catching pneumonia overnight. That's my heart.
That's a lot.
Yes. That can break your little heart.
Yeah. And then how do you recover when you get hit again?
Right.
How do you make those first steps?
She said the highest weight she reached right after, or 3 years after her son passed. So would you say, Joanne, you were an emotional eater? Like, you would run to food to kind of deal with what is happening? I just think about getting my little heart broke.
Yeah.
Like, when your heart is broke, like, I don't, do you feel a bodily sensation of like, oh my God, I feel like somebody just punched me in the gut and I can't recover in my breath. And it's like, you can't just bypass that.
Right.
You know, you got to deal with those things.
I'm going to put her comment up just in case someone missed it. But yeah, you definitely, I mean, definitely.
My heart goes out to you. How are you doing now, Joanne? Are you on GLP-1 medication now? My heart goes out to you. That is tough. You are incredible to still be pushing forward. Like, you are incredible. I am extremely proud of you, because you could have just said forget it all, you know?
Oh yeah.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
And so that means there's more for you.
Yeah.
And so I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you, that God will just do something amazing in your life. He probably already has, but for him to keep doing it.
For him to keep doing it, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Mel.
It's
Mel says, I love what you ladies are doing this evening. I love the way you're leveraging your training. Leveraging my training? Oh, I don't know what she means. But, okay, you're welcome.
By the way, let me just state this. Neither one of us are healthcare professionals.
Yeah, no.
We are just talking and sharing our experiences as we go through mental illnesses and GLP-1s. And I hate, like you said, saying mental illnesses, but obstacles mentally that can alter.
Yes, come on with it. Let's change the language. Yes.
Yeah, sometimes we have to do that in class because, like we said, they're trigger words where people be like, like, okay, let's change up how we say that.
And it means something different for each person, right? Like, when I think of the mental struggles, or, you know, the mental illness, like I've seen someone suffer, and I've seen them just really battle for their sanity, right? And it was no fault of their own. It was genuinely like they were like set up to fail, right? Based on the things that they went through, how they were born, the pregnancy that they came through, like all of the things were set up to fail. And so it's like, but the struggle for this person was taking medication was so, like, even not Christian, like it was so not believing in faith. And it was so like, and it's like, wait, if we say, you know, not to go churchy, but if we say God created all the things, right? And he gives us the ability to create things, and one of his creations created a medication that can help you with a pill, like how do we not give him credit for that too? Right. And so that it's like, you don't have to struggle. And I believe this so much. She said, I thought you were a life coach. I am. I'm a certified life coach. I'm not licensed though. I think that's what she was saying.
Gotcha.
So I think we all have to, like, just for me, I had to be okay with like accepting that medication and looking at it in a positive, like he created it, I'm going to use it. This is leverage, right? This is leverage.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't see, okay, so I didn't see taking Prozac as a negative. Like, it wasn't until, like I said, I started teaching where people were like, oh no, there's a stigma. Like, ooh, you know, if someone told me, oh, my doctor just put me on. Okay, so here we go. So I have a girlfriend, her name's Adiba Nelson, and I'm gonna put her name out there, Adiba Nelson, and she wrote a book called Ain't That a Mother? And it's talking about all her trauma with postpartum depression, having a daughter with cerebral palsy, some of her relationship struggles. I mean, she's she's done a lot with her book. I give her all grace, praise, and some of the highest regards. I'm like, oh, you wrote a book, like for real. But she, would say, hey, I'm on this medication. And I would share, hey, I'm on this medication. But it's just amazing that neither one of us saw being on the medication as a tool, but also as something to be concerned with. It was just like, oh, this is what we got to take. Like, oh, this is what we got to take. And so now, had my doctor had said in January, hey, Allanda, I want you to take this Zepbound to help you lose weight, I probably would have been like, oh, I kind of was, it was like, but I wouldn't have actually had the mindset to say, oh, I'm going to take this medication and it's going to do A, B, and C. But like you said, I also still need to put in the work to reap all the benefits. I just wasn't in that mind space. It was just, it's a tool. I'm just going to do this. And, and it wasn't, like I said, until my therapist was like, no, we going to dive a little deeper, that I am, having to address some issues. Some real life issues that maybe I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. Like, can we table that for next month? Maybe I should write that down and read it to you, because it does make you vulnerable. And sometimes we're just not ready for that vulnerability.
Yeah. I think that's my word for next year. It's vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because it's, there's one, shout out to everybody who is in this community and all the content creators, because just like you said, like, you didn't know about the mindset, but I believe a part of learning about the mindset is showing up, right? You showing up and being willing to learn, and all of the content creators that are showing up and sharing their experience. Like, it just goes to show, like, we are needed, right? We are, like, we're making a difference, right? Even if it's just in our little, corner of the world, like, we are making somewhat of a difference, and that matters.
Yeah.
So
the U.S. statistic is that 1 out of 5 adults is dealing with some type of mental illness. 1 out of 5. In my classroom, it's 1 out of 6 because of their age. And I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, stand up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, stand up. And everyone looks and they're like, okay, so we got a lot going on in this school. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
1 out of 5. And that can look like anxiety. It could look like depression. It could look like binge eating. It could look like post-traumatic stress disorder. It can look like, seasonal depression. It could be a lot. But until we are able to tap into that, the medication that we are using for weight loss is going to do what it needs to do, but we still got to do what we need to do on our side. 1 out of 5 is a lot.
That is a lot. That is a whole lot.
20%.
I was just thinking what the statistics were around obesity. Some Adrian Poindexter said also 70% of Americans suffer from obesity or being overweight.
That number just came out like 2 months ago, like 70%. It just came out 2 months ago. Girl, you own it.
Right. Adrian, look, come on with it in the chat.
Yes.
That's man. So how can we how can we make this not a thing? Like, how do we truly make it not a stigma?
For me, I think it needs, for me, and this is for me, I need it to come from within where I'm comfortable with it. Like, kind of like how my students come whispering to me, like, they're not ready. They're not, they're saying they're ready because they're sharing it, but they don't see the long road that they're about to have to take in order to deal with it. And that's where I am. having to open those doors to actually deal with it.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, I have placed the stigma on myself because I'm not. It's still an area that I'm like, ooh, do I want to talk about that? Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
where it's very common. It is very, very common. I
Yeah.
mean, just as common as I'm gonna go to Chick-fil-A and get a number one.
Listen, okay. I
It's
love me
common.
some Chick-fil-A.
It's
I
common.
went there the day after we got married, me and my ex-husband, and we were like the 100th customer. And so we got our meal for free. And ever since then, this was like my daughter's what, 12? It was over 12 years ago. Ever since then, I said, oh, you got me as a customer forever. Okay.
Wow.
You give me free food. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no. And Real Talk with Elaine was saying a lot of times people need the education piece. And you're right. We don't know what we don't know until we know.
Yeah.
So educating people, just kind of like with the GLP-1s, we hear the uneducated people. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're taking this kind of venom, and oh, you're gonna die, and oh, you're like, where are you getting this from? Like,
Yeah. Yes.
those are some of the same people who are probably, and it's just me saying this, probably passing on the fake narratives.
Right.
More of the scare tactic and the shock tactic, and not the truth of the tactic.
Right. Yeah. And one of my sister coach, like in our little community of coaches, because it was kind of there was a stigma around becoming a coach, a life coach, right?
Mhm.
And it was like this whole battle between life coaching and therapists, and like which one's better and who shouldn't be doing it, blah blah blah. Well, it's like we would say it's the people that are loud and wrong are usually the people that are wrong are usually the loudest.
The loudest, yeah.
And it just drives us, and I think it should continue to drive us in this community to continue to speak out, and like you said it starts from within. What I heard you say is like it starts with you sharing your story about the things and the parts of you that you're comfortable to share, right? Like, so that, I mean, because what happens, like, anytime we show up as our authentic self and we just be who we are, and maybe we share things that, it's just true to us, but it almost gives other people permission, right? It gives them permission to be like, oh, okay. Look, that's what happened when I started initiating boundaries. Then, like, people around me were like, oh, she said no to that. Oh, wait, so I can say no too?
Yes.
Oh, got it. Like, and so it unlocks something in other people, I think, that helps us, right?
Yeah.
Mel says, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Those that go through the weight loss process yet still don't feel full, no pun intended. They are still dissatisfied with self. It came up on Twan's live last night. Oh, okay. So what are your thoughts on people that don't feel full? They are still dissatisfied with their self. Huh. So there was a lady in a group that I'm in on Facebook. She said, I thought that, and tell me if this is what you mean, Mel. I thought that by me losing weight, I was gonna love my body. And I've lost the weight, but I still don't like myself. And I was like, yeah, like you, and I feel like that's why we got to talk about really just growing from like a sense of like myself. Like I have to like myself, and then you grow into appreciation, then you grow into love. And then that's where you can really make lasting change, because if you try to lose weight to love yourself, it's conditional.
Yeah. Because what happens if you gain a pound?
Right.
Gain 2 pounds. Yeah.
Right. What do you think? What are your thoughts on her question as far as like the weight loss process still don't feel full and they are still dissatisfied with themselves?
Well, I was on Twan's live last night, and it was really sweet. And she did invite people to come on. I was driving as usual. So, but what Twan suggested is that people get a full length mirror and they take moments to really look at themselves. I know for me, every couple of weeks, I'll take pictures of my underwear. That's just me. I'm not sharing that on the internet. I'm not trying to get a side hustle like that. But it's a way for me to see what's going on in my body. Because if you remember that one time I was in the mall and I saw a little jiggle jiggle, and I was like, what the hell is that?
Oh yeah, you were talking about the short outfit. You was like, wait a minute.
And I was feeling so good that day. I mean, just, and then I saw a little movement from that mirror and it just spiraled me. And it did. It took me like several days to process.
Yep.
Like, my body is changing.
Yep.
Change is okay. We're going to keep stepping forward. We're not going to run. We're not going to hide. We're going to let the change happen. Kind of like my hair. I eventually just put my hands up and said, all right, you want to be gray? Let's do that.
Right.
And I'm getting better at it. I'm embracing it, if anything. And I think that is a hard part for people to realize. Like, yeah, your body is going to go through things, but that's only the body part. What's going on with the brain? What's going on mentally? And what do we need to work on to connect the two to truly get that full sense of love? And I think that's kind of what Twan was leaning on last night, is look at your body and think about the things that you really embrace about you.
Yeah. Yep.
Is it the smile? Is it the dimples? Like, girl, look at my lashes. Are those real? You know, it's like, find those little things so you can make that connection. Because if they don't get that connection, again, we're going to be doing this in 5 more years.
Yeah. And the thing that we got to know too, like, if you're watching this and you haven't started on your weight loss journey, like, take it from me. I started on this loving my body years ago. That's why I stopped saying I wanted to lose weight, because I was like, man, I didn't know I could feel like this. I didn't know I could like this, you know. But you don't have to wait to lose weight. That's the thing. And this is the thing that could just jack up all type of advertisement, is like, you don't have to do anything but change your perspective to love your life. Like, literally, like, you want a key to a life coach. Like, the only thing that we're trying to help you do with therapy, same thing, is just changing your perspective. And nothing has to happen for that to happen, right? And so if you are going on this weight loss journey, you can start now. Start with, my body carried me for 39 years, 40 years. My body carried me through 3 pregnancies. Like, I can, you know what I'm saying? I can appreciate that, right? Like, that's cool. You know, you can start with, okay, that's cool. I can appreciate that you helped me get to this place. And then lead into, okay, I like my eyes, right? People compliment me on my eyes. I like my lips. Okay, look, okay, I'm feeling good. Like, and then it like, as you are consistent with those little practices, right? Those will begin to build up. It's just like a relationship with another human, right? You don't just say, oh my God, I love everything about you. It's like little things that you learn about the person, you begin to appreciate, you begin to like, and then you begin to love. And so it's kind of like we have to do that same work that doesn't take a GLP-1 medication, that doesn't take anything, for you to start those habits, for you to start those practices. And you'll find that life will just start looking a lot sweeter.
Yeah.
Like, a lot sweeter.
And that was one of the things that I had to kind of adjust myself to, because for the longest time, and you hear me say that in some of my very early videos, I was like, ignore my feet. My feet were ashy. They hadn't had pedicures in easily 2 years. Oh Lord. But I was like, don't worry about my feet.
Right.
I really should have had more self-pride. Not so much for how people see my feet, but how I as a person see my feet.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that was one of my things. Like, okay, Allanda, you need to start taking care of your feet. You know, not so much because what you're gonna do on YouTube, but for you. These are the feet that get you through A, B, and C. You have plantar fasciitis. You know, your feet are swelling up. Your ankles are swelling up. If anything, this gives you a chance to look and really see what is going on with your feet. Yeah. Are my ankles swollen up at this moment? You know, is that toe having more stress put on it than this toe? Yeah. And so I had to kind of put me first and take care of my feet.
Not kind of. We don't do kind of over here. You got to put yourself first.
Why are you opening that?
Saying that in the video, I'll be yelling at you in the when I watch it. No, you put yourself first and you don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. And that was hard. That was hard to realize that I needed to put myself first. Oh, when I tell you the guilt I had the first time I told my daughter I wasn't showing up to a game.
Ooh, child.
Like, baby, I'm not gonna be able to go. I felt like Kevin Hart. Like no. That's how I felt. Like I'm just not gonna be able to go. And she looked at me like, why? And I was like, and really what it was is I had told myself, I'm gonna take a bath, I'm gonna get my toes ready, I'm gonna paint my toes, I'm gonna go through my makeup, figure out what I can keep and what I can't keep. Mm-hmm. And so had I gone to that game, I would have put that on the back burner. I wouldn't have done it. But I knew I had to say no that time in order to move forward. I had to take that step to say it will be okay. Yep. She's literally 12 minutes from the house if anything happens. There are plenty of parents who have my phone number.
Right.
She will be fine. And then when she got home, she was like, you want to watch the game? Because they filmed it.
So I could just be watching these games with you on.
I could have just been watching. I could have been watching it in the bathroom.
Yes. Oh man.
I felt so bad. Even when I was sitting in the bathtub, I had a little moment where I cried because I was like, "Is this making me a bad mom?" My mind started spiraling.
Yeah.
But I had to just suck it up and say, "No, this is gonna make me better. It's gonna. See, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry."
It is making you better. I understand. Like, it wasn't easy. Like, it was not. It was simple, but it wasn't easy, right? And I mean, it wasn't free from emotion. It wasn't free from discomfort, right? Because it's like, dang, I really like. I think I'm a bad mom if I don't do this. Like it's not even about. Like I had made this expectation, like for me to be a good mom, I had to be at all the things. My kids have to be in all the things. And it's like, when I start to deconstruct that, it was like, gosh, okay, so if that's not a good mom, what is, then you have to redefine what you want life to be like. So and it makes you question everything that you've experienced, everything that you've known, everything that you've gone through to be able to find something that you can kind of stand on. So these comments are blowing up. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just putting them on the screen, y'all. I'm just putting them on the screen because I know I'm at an hour and a half tops.
Okay. Yeah. I have probably like another 20 minutes or so. Miss Allanda, you have some gorgeous legs. Yeah, her legs are nice. Like, like I see you with your calves doing your little workout. I said, okay, you better come through.
Yeah. It's one of those God's gifts.
Yes.
It's been there.
2025 is my year of self-care, and GLP-1 is helping me do it. Yes, we're gonna thrive in 2025.
Yeah.
Joanne, anytime I believe you can do this. Allanda has the most muscular legs. Look, your legs are a trending topic.
Good girl.
You have to fill the cup from which you pour. Yes, take care of yourself. And people should not get what goes in your cup. People should get the overflow, the extra that comes out on the little tea plate or whatever.
Yeah.
What'd she say? Adrian says, oh no, it's Dorian said, I am so thrilled for all of you on this journey. The ups and the downs are necessary. You all have this. Just keep on going. Absolutely. Absolutely. If we didn't know the sunshine, if we didn't know the rain, we wouldn't appreciate the sunshine.
Right. Yeah.
It comes with the good and the bad. So
yeah.
This is I think it's much needed conversation.
And I personally, and I don't know if she's on here or not, my coworkers, they be funny. They tell me stuff that I know that lets me know they watched.
Right. But you're like, we didn't have a conversation about that, so you must have watched the video.
You watched it, didn't you?
That's okay. They don't have to just give us the views. No.
Yeah.
I'm just
but for her to come to me, and she did tell me, she was like, it took a lot out of me to tell you that my doctor suggested therapy. And I told her, I said, I could see it in your face. That's why I didn't make a face, because I'm notorious for making faces. And I was just like, hold it, hold it, hold it. Kind of like when I talk to my students, I'd be like, hold it.
Yeah, you gotta have that poker face as a mom too. They be telling you, you be like,
because it's hard to say you need help. And sometimes help is not the physical part, it's the spiritual prayer, walk alongside me part. Just let me know I'm not alone part.
Yep.
And that's what she was saying. And so I feel like one of the reasons why our GLP-1 community is so sweet and so supportive is we walk along each other despite what's going on. I'm right there with you. All right, let's just, kind of do this together. And that helps in a way that can't always be seen physically.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I wish I could feel it and see it.
Yeah, it's that presence, like just like you said, knowing that we're not alone in this whole journey. Sometimes we don't even, you don't even have to say nothing. Just the fact that I know you here makes a huge difference. So absolutely.
Yes.
Adrian said, Allanda, I watch you every week. I've been on tirzepatide Zepbound since June. Thank you, Allanda. I'm 50 plus pounds down. No, girl.
Nice. That's good. That's getting it in.
Yeah.
Cofia, I'm gonna throw you out there right now. I'm sorry.
Huh?
But what is your number right now? How many pounds have you lost? If you don't mind sharing.
No. I'm almost at 60. I think it's like 58 point something. 58.6 or something like that. I started at 248.2. I was 189.6. So I'm almost a pound. Oh, I guess it'd be 59. I don't know. I'm almost a pound away from 60 pounds. So I'm feeling good.
Really good. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that when you can see the goal line and you have put in that work, it just feels so much better. Like, just feels so much better. And in the beginning of my journey, I was more of just lose weight. Yeah. I didn't realize, I had to put on my shoes. I had to put on an outfit. Like there were all these little tasks that I was going to have to do to truly be successful. That's why I say when people were like, track your stuff. Where's your protein? Where's your water? I realized that there were multiple layers to my journey. And if it wasn't for that moment, like, wow, I'm going to have to work through some layers.
Yeah.
In 5 more years, I'd be right back like I was with Saxenda and be like, I'm still on a weight loss journey.
Okay. We be going into 2025 with try to lose 50 pounds. And I'm laughing I'm not making light of anybody else. I'm laughing at myself because I have tried to lose weight, I tell you, like a long time. And so I'm just like, man, to be where we are now. I think one thing, I think it was who said that they don't feel accomplished. Somebody said that they didn't feel accomplished, even though they lost 100 pounds. And it's like, that's major. Like, listen, if you need somebody to celebrate you, you just reach out to me. Okay, we can have a celebration party, and I will let you borrow some of my belief.
For real, I mean, let me light on. Okay. There we go.
Like, we gotta stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing phenomenal. And I think sometimes we don't think that we should celebrate ourselves. We don't think we should appreciate ourselves, all this stuff. It's like, it starts with us. We show people how to treat us. We show people like how much we value, we show people how much we value ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And they're going to treat us the way we show we need to be treated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have got to hop off of here.
That's a good timing. As we start wrapping this up, I do have my little list of notes. So a lot of times, and if you need to go, Cofia, by all means,
Okay. I'm gonna try to finish out with you.
Okay. A lot of people don't even realize that they might be going through some mental struggles.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, no, it's only my weight. It's only my weight. But again, we want to heal ourselves from the inside out. And so these are just the 10 most popular ways to identify if maybe there is something more going on. And I have them on my little sheet so I don't forget. And you see, I got the big index card, y'all. I ain't got my glasses. If you have loss of energy, prolonged sadness, changes in your appetite, which can result into your relationship with food. You have changes in your sleep pattern. You have the inability to concentrate. You deal with mood swings or extreme mood swings. You find yourself in risky behavior. You are socially withdrawn. You have troubling thoughts or overall anxiety and persistent worriness. You might be going through some mentalness. So always consult with your doctor. Always talk to your doctor. Don't be afraid of your doctor. Your doctor should be there to help you along your life, your body, your health. And if you feel like they're not, you need to get a new doctor. You might need a doctor because this is the only body in life you have. So let's take care of it. And I know for many of us, we have neglected it, but now we are taking care of it. So there you go. That kudos to us all.
Yay! Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Look, the fact that I can reach my back a little bit better, I think that's a weight loss. That's a non-scale victory.
Yes, it is. And when they be like, stretch back, and I'd be like, all right, yeah, I am. Because I had all this extra right here.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm so much better now. I can actually do it. So, yeah. But I thank y'all. We thank y'all for joining. Yeah, again, we couldn't do this without y'all. And we wish y'all the best as you move forward into 2025.
Thank you, Allanda, for this idea. And thank you for having me on your platform. And thank you for all that you do for this community, your vulnerability, the way you show up, the way you shine, the way you share. It does not go unnoticed. You are so extremely appreciated.
Thank you. And I appreciate y'all more than y'all will ever, ever, ever know. Ever.
For sure.
So, y'all take care. Enjoy your work week and Happy New Year.
Right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.